Is Ant-Man and the Wasp the relief that we need from Infinity War? We're days away from the release of Ant-Man and the Wasp, and the reviews are hitting the internet harder than a oversized Hello Kitty Pez dispenser. Now, we've all been waiting for details about the future of the Marvel Cinematic Universe after the snap heard round the world and beyond. That ended Avengers Infinity War, and Paul Rudd's latest micro-adventure is our first dip into the Marvel pool post-Thanos making half of the universe say, I don't feel so good. Now, before we start our Ant-Man and the Wasp review roundup, you should know that today's episode of Nerdist News is going to be mostly spoiler-free, but we are talking about reviews of the film. So if you want to watch this incredible shrinking movie completely unspoiled, you might want to banish today's episode to the quantum realm. So, is Ant-Man and the Wasp the palate cleanser we all need after the events of Avengers Infinity War? The answer is a giant man-sized yes! Screen Rant's review said, after the weighty and stuffed team-up that was Avengers Infinity War, Ant-Man and the Wasp provides a return to form for Marvel. It operates as a reminder of how well the studio works on a smaller scale, even as fans may be more interested in Marvel's loftier goals of tying together a decade's worth of movies for a grand event. And smaller scale, Screen Rant, we see what you did there. Good job. And this wasn't the only glowing review about Marvel's tiniest superhero. The Hollywood Reporter said this latest entry in the unstoppable Marvel Studios takeover of the world is probably the most amusing film the company has made since the Kevin Feige reign began a decade ago. Of all of the amazing actors in the film, USA Today spent a lot of their review talking about the first woman to co-star in a Marvel film. USA Today said Evangeline Lilly's Wasp, whose headstrong sting and killer moves make her just as watchable as any of the A-list Avengers. They continued, while Ant-Man's technically the star, this is most definitely the Wasp's movie to own, and the smirking, enjoyable, no-nonsense role fits Lilly well. Now, since the Wasp is one of the most important characters in early Avengers comics, even coining the name The Avengers all the way back in Avengers issue number 1 in 1963, we're excited to see that a version of the character is finally becoming a prominent and active part of the MCU. But not everything in the film was a slam dunk. In IGN's review, they said, one area of the movie that could have used a little more creativity is the quantum realm, the microscopic alternate dimension where Janet Van Dyne has apparently been trapped for decades. After the psychedelic beauty of Doctor Strange, the trippy subatomic landscape feels a tad underwhelming. But if you're wondering if the film answers any of your questions about the events of Infinity War, the review adds, you'd better temper your expectations now. That said, we here at Nerdist have seen it, and all we will say is to make sure and stick around for the post-credits scene. Ho-wink, ho-wink. And there you have it. Ant-Man and the Wasp is a fun romp through San Francisco that doesn't have a ton of consequences for the greater MCU, and that is totally fine. As great as Infinity War was, we're glad that Marvel is letting us take a breather with a micro-scale flick filled with a bunch of shrinking and growing sight gags. But what do you folks think? Do these reviews make you more excited about Ant-Man and the Wasp? Do you wish the film did more to explain the events of Infinity War? And do you think this will slow down the alarming rate at which bees are dying, or at least raise more insect awareness? Let's discuss. Because once they die, y'all, we're all f***ed. Be sure to like, subscribe, and mash that little bell to get notified every time we drop a video. Like today with Dan's latest episode of The Dan Cave, Mr. Casey Esquire is pouring one out for all of those video game movies that almost made it to the big screen. Check it out right now. Oh, I don't feel good.